Now, there's been global criticism of Israeli far-right minister Itamar Ben-Gvir's visit to the Al-Aqsa compound in Jerusalem. The Western governments have warned that such moves threaten the fragile status quo at Jerusalem's holy sites. Israel's new far-right national security minister Ben-Gvir visited the compound on Tuesday. He was surrounded by security guards while a drone hovered above the holy site. Al-Aqsa Mosque is the third holiest place in Islam and the most sacred site in Jews, who refer to the compound as the Temple Mount. Now, under the status quo, non-Muslims can visit the site at specific times only, but they are not allowed to pray there. Hours after Ben-Gvir's visit, Israel's ally, the United States, said that it stands firm on preserving status quo of Jerusalem's holy sites.
So this is the mosque that you're talking about by the National Security Advisor there. Look, so the United States stands firmly, and we've been very clear for preservation of the status quo with respect to the holy sites in Jerusalem. Any unilateral action that jeopardizes the status quo is unacceptable, and we will continue to be steadfast on that and be very clear on that.
We're deeply concerned by any unilateral actions that have the potential to exacerbate tensions, precisely because we want to see the opposite happen.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called on all to refrain from steps that could escalate tensions in and around the holy sites. Germany urged everyone to avoid actions that could increase tensions. The UAE and Morocco, which established diplomatic ties with Israel in 2020 with the Abraham Accords, spoke out against Ben-Gvir's visit to Al-Aqsa Mosque. In fact, Israeli media has reported that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's planned visit to the UAE next week has now been postponed till next month, though Prime Minister's aides have denied any link to Ben-Gvir's move. These reports emerged shortly after UAE condemned Israeli minister's visit to the contested site. Now, according to diplomats, UAE and China have also asked UN Security Council to meet over the issue. It's a visit that has caused rage among the Palestinians. Palestinian Prime Minister called Ben-Gvir's visit a storming of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and a violation of all norms, international laws and commitments of Israel to the American president.
إن اقتحام الوزير الإسرائيلي بن-غفير للمسجد الأقصى المبارك صباح اليوم يشكل تحدي خطير لمشاعر جميع أبناء الشعب الفلسطيني.
هذا خطير لأنه صاحب فكرة السيطرة على الأقصى وصاحب فكرة التقسيم الزماني والمكاني.
Israel security forces have reportedly confirmed that a rocket was launched towards Israel from Gaza last night, but it fell within the Gaza Strip. The visit has drawn fierce condemnation from across the Muslim world. The leader of Lebanon's powerful armed Hezbollah movement has said that any change in status quo at the Al-Aqsa Mosque could lead to an explosion in the region.
إن التعرض للمسجد الأقصى وللمقدسات الإسلامية والمسيحية في فلسطين وفي بيت المقدس خصوصا من قبل هؤلاء الصهاينة لن يفجر الوضع داخل فلسطين فقط بل قد يفجر المنطقة بكاملها.
Now, in an apparent effort to calm anger over the visit, an official in Israeli Prime Minister's office has said that Benjamin Netanyahu is fully committed to the status quo that allows only Muslim worship at the site. Now, for more on this, we are being joined by our correspondent Jody Cohen from Ranan, Israel. Jody, what has been the Netanyahu government's response to all the criticism coming their way from within Israel and abroad? And is Ben-Gvir likely to visit Al-Aqsa again?
Good morning from Israel, Westport. As you've seen, there's been a wave of international condemnation, I would say condemnation from Arab countries and criticism and urging for calm from European countries and the US. Now, Netanyahu, his office issued a statement following all of this, saying that Ben-Gvir's visits to the Temple Mount Al-Aqsa compound didn't break the status quo that was agreed between Israel and Jordan. and saying that the new Israeli government is committed to maintaining the status quo there. However, he also said that the government will not be dictated to by threats from Hamas. Now, just as a reminder, the status quo is that non-Muslims can enter through one of the multiple gates there at certain times with a police presence, walking a very specific route. And as you said, no prayer is allowed. The issue of whether or not this was different was because Ben-Gvir is now a minister. However, Netanyahu's office clarified that ministers have visited in the past, including former Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan. Now, Ben-Gvir himself has visited there multiple times before. In this visit, he stuck to the route. He didn't pray, even though it's believed that he does believe in the right for anyone to be able to pray in the courtyard there. We're not talking about the mosque. This is separate. This is the courtyard, the open space there. He did agree to maintain the status quo in the coalition agreements with Likud. As he was leaving the site, he affirmed continued freedom of movement for all people at the site. And in an interview with Israeli media after the visit, he actually accused the Al-Aqsa compound rules of being racist, for example, saying that Jews are not allowed to drink from the water tap there. Right. He also suggested that condemnations of his visit are hypocritical, saying that those countries are not condemning Hamas actions and that of the Palestinian Authority, for example, paying salaries to terrorists. Now, remember, this is the third most holy site in Islam. It is the holiest site in Judaism, so I would expect his visits to continue and the protests as well.
Jody, now UAE's reaction to the incident, then there is a call for a UN meeting over the incident, and then the postponement of Netanyahu's first official trip to UAE. Now, there have been repercussions sort of connected to each other. It's all happened together. Now, does this derail the Abraham Accord hardwood?
So as you said, the UAE has requested a UN Security Council meeting about this issue. It's unlikely to lead to a formal censure of Israel, but it does reflect the anger and the concern on this issue, and that's likely to take place as early as Thursday. Netanyahu has now postponed his trip to the UAE, which was, it was thought that that was going to take place next week. Now it's being said that that will take place in February. Right. And the Prime Minister's office is saying that that's been delayed for logistical reasons, although not related to the visit. Although, as you said, the timing is leads people to suspect that the two are related. However, it's interesting to note that the invitation has not been withdrawn. The visit is talked about being delayed, not cancelled. In the long run, I don't see that this will impact the relations between the Abraham Accord countries. Certainly that this is something they will talk about as well. It's also interesting to note that Saudi Arabia talked about the visit being a provocation, and we know that one of Netanyahu's priorities is to try and make peace with Saudi Arabia. He says ultimately as a way to make peace with the Palestinians as well.
Thank you so much for all the updates, Jody. We'll be in touch.